Hey guys, Caduce Campbell here for TheButtonSmashers.com, and today we're reviewing Valkyria Revolution. Writing this review was a bit strange for me because unlike my regular style of contextualizing my thoughts after completing the game, I found myself writing a pros and cons list after my first hour with the game. The reason for this being that though I was finding things that I liked about it, I was also finding just as much, if not more, design choices that completely baffled me. Things like the game loading after almost every scene during a cutscene completely puzzled me. So like I did with our God Wars Future Past review, I'll be addressing all the things about the game that bothered me first, then I'll cover all the things that I liked. Valkyria Revolution has a great plot in that it's told as a history lesson by characters in the future. The story of the game is focused on the small country of Jutland that is economically blocked by Rosine, a powerful country that expands its territory and achieves rapid industrial development after discovering the azure mineral Ragnite. This mineral is used as an energy resource but also has magical properties. Wanting independence from its colonial rule, Jutland strikes the base of the Empire's army. Now this setting makes one interesting tale about the complexities of politics, e-commerce, war, and revenge. It has all the elements for success, but sadly it is burdened by the aforementioned loading issue that I just mentioned. During the game you are presented with numerous cutscenes that are short by themselves but are lengthened by a ridiculous disjointed loading system. At first I thought it was a few isolated scenes that the developer was trying to highlight at the beginning of the game, but I quickly realized that it happened every time there was a cutscene. It also happened too frequently to be anything less than annoying. For me, this prevents the story from flowing seamlessly enough to hold the attention of the player for long. I'll even admit to zone out on multiple instances while watching the cutscenes because of the constant loading. If the cutscenes were more seamless, I'm sure I'd be able to enjoy the game a lot more because it does have an intriguing story and interesting characters. However, that is not the case and the problems don't end with just the cutscenes. After coming to the realization that the cutscenes were botched, I assumed that the developers were more focused on the gameplay elements, and thus the cutscenes suffered. That turned out to be a false assumption as the gameplay is arguably worse than the cutscenes. Though the cutscenes were affected by constant loading, they were still backed by an interesting cast of characters and strong voice acting. The gameplay, on the other hand, wasn't really backed by anything good. To me, it seemed uninspired. It's so basic that most of it is done by mashing the same button over and over till the enemies die. This tactic is not necessarily by design, but it's how you will most likely find yourself playing the game due to the battle mechanics being too cumbersome or vastly ineffective in battle. The game attempts to use a tactics wheel type system to decide how other characters support the player during the battles. Note I said attempts because none of it feels intuitive enough to encourage use except for the grenades, special attacks, and magic. It was so bothersome that during my time with the game I mostly ignored my companions while battling because of it. In essence, I played this game as if I were playing a Warriors title. In fact, enemies in this game are not that different than those that you'd find in such games. Most just stand around waiting to be hit and the majority die after just 3 hits. The bosses are stronger than these basic enemies, but tactically I found it most effective to just set my teammates to support me before battles with healing magic, while I repeated the same 3-hit combo with the occasional special move or grenade toss till the boss eventually died. Which if you ask me is some of the most boring combat I've experienced in a while. There were some of the issues that I experienced during the review, like less animations for some enemies on the Media.Vision and some slowdowns, but these weren't very noticeable or frequent enough to affect the game, so I'll just mention them as minor annoyances and leave it at that. With all that bad stuff out of the way, we can finally talk about the things that I actually liked about this game. The voice acting is one of the game's saving graces. It's some of the best English voiceovers I've experienced in a JRPG, and if I had to guess where most of the development resources went in this game, I'd have to go with the voiceovers because of how good they are. And thanks to an impressive cast of intriguing characters, this aspect of the game tends to seem a bit of a mismatch because of how unimpressive most of the other stuff is.
For a long time, and after going through the records, I've begun to have some doubts. Like, did the traitors really commit treason?
The Elsinore trials have ruled it as such.
Graphically, the game looks as you would expect a Valkyria game to look. It's got that unique look that you only see in Valkyria games. Something like moving pastel art. Blending this amazing style with the stellar voice work, it's even more of a shame that the cutscenes were ruined by the darn loading. I mean, whose idea was it to do that? I mean, who thought, you know what would be great? Let's have loading screens after every few words in a cutscene. And everyone else was like, yeah, that song's great. What the frack, Media.Vision? You ruined a game that I was looking forward to so much, and all thanks to poor design choices. Why? In the end, it's sort of hard for me to hate the game or love the game either. So here's my final verdict. This was a game without any focus, a mixture of good ideas and poor implementation. If the focus was placed on making a good action RPG or good tactics game, then it would have likely been an amazing game to play. If the cutscenes were seamless, then this would have been a more enjoyable story to experience. With both of these aspects lacking proper implementation, what we got from Valkyria Revolutions was a good concept, but not a good game. As a fan of this franchise who wants another entry in it, I'd recommend it to other fans only with the consideration to keep Sega from shelving it. Hopefully with that we'll get a Valkyria Chronicles 4 with the proven tactics RPG gameplay that we've come to expect from this franchise and better cutscenes. Everyone else should probably avoid this title or maybe pick it up when it's on a sale. Thank you very much for watching our review of Valkyria Revolution. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to give it a like and leave us a comment to let us know what you think about the game. If you'd like more content like this from us, make sure to hit a subscribe and check out all the other great content that we have here on this channel.